Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Steve Van Samson,
Curtis M. Lawson,
Paul Christian Glenn, Joshua Rex, Raz, Rob Smales.
Hey everybody, happy Sunday. Welcome to another episode of the Clutch of Personalities. Tonight you have me and Ratatosker as well as Friday over there. And we're welcoming on Jeannine Acheson and Tom Sniegoski. And we're going to be talking about their newest novella, Nira. This is the start of a new series about a gal named Constance Evermore. And it is super interesting, just fantastic. You're going to absolutely love it if you have taste similar to mine, which you probably wouldn't be watching if you didn't. So, without further ado, how's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Good.
How are you?
Pretty good.
Doing
Yeah.
great? Yeah. Got the squirrel, got everything going. I'm super excited about this. I read the book. I got a refresher last night and everything. And I love everything that you did. The artwork is very gorgeous. I love how when we talked about this, I had Tom on the show over on Splash Pages in April, and you were explaining about how you were approached by the artist to come up with a pitch for a book. So, do you want to delve into that? And because we talked about it's just kind of crazy to have that happen, but how you guys ended up coming up with everything together once that was like I got some pictures. I want you to come up, or I want to draw pictures for you.
The guy's name is Tom Brown. He's a fantastic artist from England that I worked with on a project called The Raven's Child. And we've always talked about doing more things together. And one day out of the blue, I get this email from him that said that I'm doing some work for a small up-and-coming book publisher, and he's looking to do novellas. And I was thinking, what if you wrote something and I could do the drawings for it? And I was like, well, yeah, that could be good. That could be interesting. So I thought it was kind of planted the seed in my brain. So I poked Jeannine, and I was basically said, do you want to maybe do this with me? Do you want to see if we can come up with something for Tom to draw?
And I said yes immediately.
Always yes.
I always say yes.
Rubs our hands together. Yes, let's go. So yeah, we had talked about maybe doing some novellas here and there, but that was kind of like on the back burner. Mm-hmm. So this kind of made us go into our notes and things like that we'd been taking to see if we could find something that would be appropriate for Tom's art style. And she didn't have a name yet. She wasn't Constance yet.
She wasn't.
Now,
She had a bunch of names, but we hadn't picked one for sure. And her original name was Constance Nevermore. Remember that?
Ooh.
oh yeah. Then
We got rid of the N.
you get rid of.
Now, as she is kind of an eternal creature, is it?
Yeah.
I mean, the Evermore and the Constance, like a constant presence. Is that kind of how you?
You know, half the time I don't even realize these things till people are pointing them out to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, that's
Totally
great. I'm a genius.
So how do you guys work with collaboration? Like when I've worked on things where I'm like shared universes and stuff, but not too much when it comes to writing one story together. Yeah.
Well, since Jeannine, I'm going to let you describe the amazing experience of working with me.
I think our collaboration and the way we do it is probably different from, I think, probably every other writing team on the planet. When we collaborate on, I think 95% of what I do is a collaboration with Tom, and I do a little bit of stuff on my own. He does a lot of other stuff without me, which is okay. But we usually sit side by side or on Skype or Google Meet, and we just kind of talk about stuff. We have shared documents. We use Google Docs, and it's literally just the two of us sitting there going, well, what about this? And one of us will type something, and then the other one will say, well, what about this? And we wrote a novel during the pandemic together on Google Docs on Skype. And we wrote Nira the same way. We share a Google Doc, and we just kind of, I don't know, we like think out loud with each other. And that's how we write things. I know that when Tom works with other collaborators, he works a lot with Chris Golden, a friend of his, and you guys kind of split things up. And like, if you're writing a comic, Tom will do all the layouts, and then Chris will do all the dialogue, and they work like separately. And I'm like, well, that's wild to me, because all of our collaborations are literally like the two of us putting our brains together. So I think it's different in that respect, but that's what works for us. So
that's very cool.
It also with Jeannine is still like learning a lot of the ins and outs of these things. So I think that style of collaboration works the best for us, because again, I can kind of say, all right, this is how we should do this. You know, you're not familiar with this, but this is how we should probably approach this. So whereas like if I'm working with Chris, I've known Chris for God knows how many years, and he can say, hey, look, I got 20 things going on over here. Why don't you start, and I'll catch up with you later on. You know, that so we kind of know what we have to do and go our separate ways. Whereas Jeannine is still picking up a lot of the stuff.
I'm kind of getting there.
No, I'm not. I'm not bringing it up to say you're not getting it. I'm just saying that there's a difference between somebody who's been doing it for 40 years and somebody who's just been doing it for the last couple of years.
So when you come up with the voice of Constance and the voice of the different characters, is it something that you mutually do? And then once you have that, it has to be, I'm assuming once you have their voice instead of your own particular voice alone, it's easier to work together to be like, okay, this is how Constance is going to behave. This is how Livy's going to behave.
Yeah.
And
we did a lot of, like before we actually even did the writing on these characters, we did a lot of talking about the characters. You know, what are their demeanors? What are they, how would they talk? You know, in a situation like this, how would they approach that? And I don't know. I think the characters kind of develop from there, like through like just like going back and forth. You know, just in terms of the personalities and things like that.
Yeah. I think too, a lot of the people who we know, like we talk about everything. We have conversations galore. And I sometimes, like, he'll say something like his mother said, or I'll remember something that my mother said. And it's like, oh, Constance would probably say things like that, like being her age. And so, yeah, it's a lot of conversations, and sometimes not even related to what we're working on, just conversations in general about people we know or things that we think. And I think Constance is she's kind of a combination of, I don't know, a little bit of like everybody we know plus a lot of ourselves.
Yeah, I think it would, just in writing and prose in general, you have a tendency to put a lot of yourself in the characters, or at least how you think about things, or how you would think about things if you were thousands of years old.
Yeah.
You get a chance to be a lot of people over that amount of time.
Yeah, I think you do. Yeah.
I think I don't know if I ever gained that kind of level of living, you'd want to try out different streams. Like, hey, let's be posh for a while. Oh, let's go over here and hang out in the gutters for a while. Just to play, because you have so much time to spend and so many things you can do with it.
Yeah, I think Constance says a lot of the things I wish I could say sometimes, but I can't.
I understand that. So I also want to. Okay, I was showing the pictures. This was one of Constance, because Tom's art, you're correct, is just gorgeous.
Yeah, really.
So this is another major character, and it is a house.
A house, yeah.
And I'm also going to show off real quick while I'm just putting up the pictures here. Caw, who is it? Is it a Ninil? Ninil? Yeah. Ninil? Okay. Yeah. He's one of my favorite characters, I think. That was just cool. But I love the concept of the house. I've worked on a shared universe before with somebody, with a whole group of people, that was centered around a hotel that is everywhere and every when. So anybody who is writing, you could say like, oh, and this person showed up in Poland in 1662, but this person came in from London 1301, or it's modern day in Chicago. So and I love how this house has done that, and it's evolved and it changes. Is that something that you use in more than one story? Is that the evolving house and such, or how did you come together with that idea?
Yeah, I think it was just one of those things we were trying to come up with ways that, if you've been on the planet for so long, you'd have to have almost like a base of operation. You'd have to have like
where's home?
Yeah, I mean, so I think the house thing just kind of evolved from there. I mean, I've always had an affection for like big old houses and things like that. Matter of fact, in one of our comics, we have one of the Vampirella comics, we had was it Pantha?
Just Pantha. The House of Woe.
The House of Woe. Yeah. And again, a big old house, like in the like not in this reality, but occasionally in this reality, that type of thing. And yeah, so that I can't 100% say, oh, we came up with this because of this, but I think the whole reason was we just wanted her to have like a base of operation,
she needed to have
and be able to get to different places and not have to take a bus or.
Yeah.
So it's born of necessity rather than like, hey, I got to do this house thing.
Yeah. It's kind of like, and when you come up with realizing that you need something like that, you say, how do you make it as cool as possible?
Yeah.
And how do you make it something that you want to see again? Because I mean, I think the way we wrote the house in this first story, it's kind of almost its own character, and you kind of like it, and you kind of want to see it again, so that I think we scored on that one.
Oh, definitely. You nailed it. Like I said, I've written this kind of thing before, and it's the most fun playground you can have, because when it has a mind of its own, you can just make it go anywhere and do anything.
Well, I think what I loved about it was the fact that we had come up with the concept that this house has been other things other than a Victorian mansion. It was a cave. It was a cave. It was a log cabin. It basically evolves with what she needs it to be in the situation she's in. So, yeah, that was cool.
And Freddie, you had a question. Can I have you?
Technically, I had I wanted to
You have more than
first
one.
say when I read this book. Yeah, I'd like to. Well, I first want to say when I read this book, it was like back when I was in 6th grade, and you find this new world, and it's like, yay, the fantasy is new again.
Oh,
That's when I first started reading fantasy books. I promise that is a compliment. That is when I first started loving books. So, okay, two questions came up. One was you had alluded that the house could leave without her in the story because she looked up and she was like happy the house was still there. Is that something you plan on possibly having in the future where the house just like, I'm going to meet you somewhere else?
Oh, I don't know. I don't even remember that. Do you remember that, Jeannine?
No.
I just read the book and it's like she looks up and she's happy the house is still waiting there for her. And it's
the end.
In my brain it just like alludes that it might leave without her.
Well, it's full of ghosts. It's full of all her friends and relatives and everybody. So it probably wouldn't get very far. You'd probably have to come back and get her.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that could be a necessity thing where it's like, oh, I guess I have to go find the house now.
Oh yeah.
It went where I needed to be and forgot about me. So
the house could be like a misbehaving dog. You know, like it could wander off on its own and she has to find it again.
You know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Maybe force her to go to a place that she doesn't want to confront. And
that
happens frequently.
Yeah. She doesn't want to do a lot of things right now. She's kind of burnt out.
You can do in this world. I can't wait to see how you continue it and if Livy comes back. But my question was, is there like laws of the spirits in your world that they have to follow or things they can't do?
I don't quite know if we've thought that far yet.
I don't know that we have. I feel like the spirits who are in her house are really just there.
I feel like reminders.
To her, to irritate her, to remind her of what she's done.
Yeah.
So that she doesn't forget. So yeah, I don't think we've kind of delved into them and like the rules for them yet. At this point, they're just kind of like background shadows.
Yeah, but they're kind of like they're reminders.
Yeah,
they're reminders.
Yeah, they're kind of like don't think that you're
up again.
You're not off the hook. You need to clean this mess up.
Okay. The only reason I asked is because they acted differently than the mobster had, and he was given a power bump. I understand.
Yeah. They probably acted slightly different just because of the fact that the mobster is an earthly spirit, where these people are actually pre-Earth and pre-human species. They're like another race entirely. So those rules might be a little bit different than a spirit from like us, like our time and our ghosts. So that was me thinking fast.
Well, that's what I'd wondered. Yeah, because they're different. I should have written down the term. What was the earlier Earth or pre-Earth term? Hereth. Okay. Yeah. Because that was really cool. Oh my gosh, guys, you guys are in for a treat. We're like trying not to give out spoilers. Little things here and there though, and very cool creatures. and a very, very, I mean, this is super in depth, and you do a lot of research. I know this. And I wanted to bring up also with shared universe type of things. Did you happen, because this was in Soul Taker, the Forgotten Pope Roland the Vicious is in both of these, and I love that.
That was a little us just joking, having some
Giving
fun.
a nod.
Yeah.
I was talking to my mother today. We're driving around getting groceries and heading out, and I'm like, so I need to talk, because there's like the Forgotten Pope and the Antipopes, and I was just reading something the other night it wasn't any of your stuff, but that was brought up there too. And I was like, because I was studying the Habsburgs, and also that I hate the Habsburgs. I really hate the Habsburgs. Sorry, there's no real reason behind it. It's just a thing for me. But the Frederick Barbarossa, and during that time there were multiple popes going on, and they were fighting over it. But I know this is something that you enjoy, and I was trying to explain to my mom, and she was just like, and I was like, "You're paying a lot of attention." She's like, "No, I'm just trying to get out of this parking space. I have no idea what you're talking about at all." But you explained it to us on splash pages, and since I apparently don't do a very good job of it, could you explain a little bit about that particular thing, and what, because you came up with all these different holy relics, and what the anti-pope or the forgotten popes were?
I think we were just doing for Soul Taker, our comic book series. We were just trying to do some historical stuff and reasons behind the I'm going blank on the name of the organization.
Oh, the
Venators, for their hate of supernatural creatures. And we stumbled across a certain point in history where there were all these popes. They were like, this pope was like over here, and there were like three. Wasn't there like three at one time?
Yeah.
Like everyone was saying, "No, I'm the pope. No, I'm the pope.
No, I am. No, I am."
So we just thought that was fascinating, that there were all these different popes, or different people proclaiming to be popes, and that's why we came up with our pope. Was kind of like, oh, it'd be great to have like a really nasty, forgotten, like crazy pope that no one remembers because he was so horrible. That's pretty much.
See, now I want to know more about his background, because you presented him twice to me now, and I'm just like, how did he become the vicious? Like, you have the innocent and all these different things. It's like, which Holy Roman Emperor appointed him? While everybody else was voting in the papal thing. But
that's actually we've actually talked about possibly doing a story with our character from Soul Taker in that time period, to kind of show the reasoning why Roland the Vicious went after these specific creatures. So, but we haven't had a chance to do that yet.
Well, I'm all over it when you do it, because that's awesome. So, okay, so you've had him there, and okay, actually, I'm talking way too much. Jenny, Friday, did you have? As I'm rambling, and you have these thoughtful questions that you go ahead of time and like write down, and I'm just like 4 notes and.
Oh, I didn't write anything down. I just did a whole lot of reading and then came on the show, because I'm like, okay, I have to do laundry in a laundromat. I can just read. And it was it was enjoyable. I promise that. Do you plan on continuing the series? Is my next question.
Yes. We've actually already plotted the next one, so we just have to write it.
Are they all going to be novella length, or are you gonna?
I think we want them all to be novella length. Yeah.
Okay. Are you okay? Are there going to be other people like Livy that also have the ability to see the spirits and other creatures of the world?
Well, Livy will be back.
Yeah.
She will be back.
Livy will be back, and Livy will be much older next time you see her.
Okay.
So this
Ooh.
amount of time has gone by. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Don't want to get any more than that.
I know.
But
as
we're going to show why Livy is special.
Yeah.
And yeah.
okay, because I'd wondered about that if she's going to come back as a student or come back as I've learned more about my abilities.
Yeah.
I can help you with this. There's so many things you can do with that. But
Oh,
okay,
definitely.
Livy will be back, but will there be others?
I don't know. We haven't thought. Yeah, actually, no. Actually, there are. I don't want to spoil anything.
Oh, you don't have to. I just want to know if there's going to be
Yeah,
other.
there are some other people who have experienced and have encountered Constance who
Yeah.
may not be as happy about her as Livy is. So
Oh yeah,
I wanna go-
you've set her up like for lack of a better word, Constantine, where she's this almost a disgruntled wizard that has been through some stuff. And okay, even a house that she gets to have, although his has different abilities in a lot of ways. No, I'm not saying you hacked everything. I'm just saying I love both worlds. I'm falling in love with this one now. And there's just so much that she could have done to help people or like Caw, and I don't agree with what you did type of situation.
Yeah.
Mm.
Also, real quick, I'm going to butt in here. For anyone who's watching, I will be setting up a giveaway for a pre-order of the book. It's going to be released on the 16th. But if you're watching, you got to comment and you got to say something. So ask a question or something like that, or say hello. And at the end, we have some stuff here. If we have a couple people, I'll do a little flip around and spin a wheel on it. But come join us. Get a copy of the book. You're going to love it. It's really good. And it's so pretty. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a pretty book. The design was really nice. Bad Hand books they're amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We love working with them.
Yeah.
I wasn't
in operation, and he's like killing it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I wasn't familiar with them before this, and now I'm just like, oh, gonna have to add them to my list of independent publishers going on.
Yeah, they're movers and shakers, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
So how did you come up with Caw? Was that something that was based on different creatures from mythology, or how did you create them yourself? I don't want to get into anything further than he's really cool. or they. I guess it's not a he, it's a they.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are half fox. Foxes are sly, and half crow, right?
I think we said crow and fox. Yeah.
And crows are like, smart. So we kind of took the two like traits of animals that we thought of, and then we also kind of thought about what Tom Brown is really good at.
Yeah, a lot of it. I think a lot of it was the kind of cool animals that he can draw, and I think we just because I'd worked with him before and he'd done a lot of animal stuff, so I think it was just kind of a neat, like in our brains we were thinking, oh, what if Tom Brown drew something that combined these animals? How cool would that look?
Yeah,
and he did
pretty cool.
Yeah, he did a really cool job. Really cool job. And also I love I do a lot of animals. If you read a lot of my books, there are usually animals in the book, usually dogs. But this was my opportunity to create not alien, but a creature that doesn't exist anymore, like Constance's original world. Yeah. So yeah, in most of the animals are wise asses usually if they talk. So
well, this one doesn't. They're kind of a pill.
he's not really a wise ass. He's more. I don't even know.
I think they kind of just like they just say things straight. It is what it is with Caw, and they're not afraid to just say what they're thinking, much like
Yeah,
Constance.
and the relationship with Constance is really interesting because there's a little bit of resentment, I think, that's there for what she did so long ago.
Yeah.
But I think it's just they would be lost without each other. I think.
I can see that.
Yeah, because they're both the last of their kind, basically. If you know, so yeah.
And I love that you used a crow instead of a raven, just because everyone feels the need that ravens are cooler birds. And if you haven't noticed with the little thing up there, and I'm all about crows. I totally relate to the crow, and so it's just like, it's a crow. Yes. Like, I love ravens; they're great, but crows
they're both cool. They're both cool looking, as far as like most people think that they're the same thing.
Yeah, the same,
but when you put them side by side, they're very different looking in terms of like the shapes of their heads and their beaks. Yeah. So,
the amount of pinion feathers they have.
Oh, all right.
That was it's a meme that goes around, but if you go, there's like one of them has one more set of pinion feathers than the other one, so the difference is a matter of opinion or opinion. Yeah. These are the things that I learned because I have no life at all outside of reading and being on the internet. But that allows me to read all of your stuff, which is really, really cool.
There you go.
So, okay, so did you, Jeannine, as you're getting, we were talking about this before, you're newer to this than Tom is, and you guys have been working together. What came first, prose or comic books? Because that's something you're both working together on both.
Right. For me, it was prose. So very long story short. I am a former teacher, and when I was still teaching right before the pandemic hit, I needed an author to come to talk to my students about what's better, the book or the movie. And so I wanted an author who had their books turned into movies. So I turned to my old high school friend, Tom Sniegoski, and emailed him after like 38 years of like not being in contact. And he came to talk to my students. He came to talk to 300 7th graders. And so after that, he and I kept on talking and found that we had a lot in common still because we had been friends such a long time ago. And he said, have you ever thought about writing? And I thought, I was looking for something to do when I retired from teaching, but I was like, I don't know. And he kind of convinced me that I should give it a try. And then the pandemic hit and I was not in school. I was teaching from home. And so we decided to write a novel together. So prose came first, actually. And then during the pandemic and during shutdown, we wrote our novel. I took sabbatical that September instead of going back to school. So I took the first term off. We finished our novel. I went back to school for a few months, and then I retired at the end of that school year. And somewhere in the middle of that, Tom asked me if I wanted to write a Vampirella comic with him. And I was like, at this point, sure, why not? My life has just completely done a 180 from what it used to be. So I said, sure, let's do it. And so that was our first comic was in 2020 or 2021, I think.
Can't remember which one it was. The Valentine's Day special.
Valentine's Day special. I think it was
2021. I think it was 2021.
It might have been 2021.
Yeah.
And that's how I got into comic book writing. And I had no idea what I was doing, but now it's better. So yeah, but prose came first. And then that I was, not great at, obviously, but that I felt more of a comfort with than comic book writing, because comic book writing, like I had read comics, but I didn't know. I kind of figured out how they were made, but I had no idea. And Tom was fun. He would give me a script that he had written, and then he'd show me like the pencil drawings, and then he'd show me the inks, and then he'd show me the colors, and he'd show me with it, with all the dialogue and everything, and then he'd show me the finished copy, and I was like, my mind was just completely blown. And the first time that we wrote that Valentine's Day special, I had absolutely no idea what we were doing. It was crazy town. But since then, we've done 1, 2, 3 miniseries together, a bunch of like one-shots. We have a graphic novel that we just finished writing that hasn't been announced yet, so we can't talk about it. But yeah, it's been an education. It's all been an education. The past 5 years, 5.5 years now, have just gone by like that, just like that. But it's been fun.
Were you a comic book fan before this? Like you said, you read some, but were you like into them or?
Yeah, when Tom and I went to high school together, we would read comics together, and he would buy me things that he thought I would like. And I read them a little bit. My favorite comics when I was younger were Archie comics. Like, I loved Archie comics. They were the best. But since I had like gotten married and had kids and been working and everything, I hadn't had the chance really to read comics or graphic novels. But I kind of got back into it. I have a gigantic collection now, courtesy of Mr. Sniegoski. And yeah, I love it. Like, I love the storytelling. I like the art form. I like how art and the words come together to tell the story. So yeah, I've become more of a fan of comics than I ever was. So yeah, it's been fun.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Friday, checking in.
Hi. Yes, I'm still here. I'm just having multiple sinus issues. My sinuses are trying to escape out my head. So, but I wanted to be here so bad because I wanted to meet you so bad. This is okay. When it comes to writing comics versus prose, for you, is there like an easier one to slip into and write, or is one easier or harder than the other?
I find comics seems more fun. Comics is much more. You're not alone. I mean, a lot of the times when I'm writing, if I'm writing a novel without Jeannine, you're by yourself. You're in your head, and that's where you are. Whereas comics, you're collaborating with inkers and with editors at the comic company and artists, and so I think there's a lot more energy to writing comics and again, it's such a visual medium that you're like picturing crazy stuff in your head, and you're like trying to get the words down on a piece of paper right, so the artist can figure out what the hell you're talking about, so they draw it right, and whereas books there's a lot more. They're almost serious. Even though I don't think Jeannine and I are ever serious.
No.
but there is a more seriousness, and a lot more focus that you have to kind of put into, because you're responsible for everything with a book. You can't pass that off to the artist. You can't say, "Oh, that's the craziest monster I've ever seen," and then you pass it off to the artist, and he draws the craziest monster you've ever seen. Hopefully. Whereas if you're writing the craziest monster you've ever seen in a novel, you've got to describe that crazy. You've got to get that point across to your readers that is the craziest thing you've ever seen. So that's that. Comics have always been more fun for me. And with Jeannine, I think is, I don't know. What would you say?
Well, comics are also, I find, faster. Like the miniseries that we've worked on, and even the graphic novel that we worked on, like we had a schedule for turning in scripts. Like there's one due every month, and so every month you're talking with your editor, you're talking with the artist, you're getting pages that are coming back to you, and you've got to okay them. So there's a lot more like give and take with that. But with a novel or even a novella, it's just you and the keyboard, or us and the keyboard.
Yeah.
I think at this point, both of them are equally challenging for me. But I do have more of a comfort level, I think, with prose, although I'm getting better with comics, like scripting and laying things out. But yeah, they're both equally hard at this point. But fun. But it's work, but it's fun work. So.
Well, you're very good at it. The two of you combined, I haven't read either. Well, I haven't read any of yours singly, but you both are doing a great job. You seem to be a fabulous collaborative team, and so I'm very happy that you invited this old high school friend to speak to your class, because it has turned into an amazing creation. Well, group of creations going on.
I'm amazed at the things that we've accomplished, and that my life is so completely different than it was like 7 years ago. It's just completely different, which is good. Good. I need a little shake up.
And this is the thing I can tell my 7th graders, that some 7th grade teachers have written comics as well, and it'd be like something to get her attention. That hey, they do amazing things outside of school. Am I a teacher? No.
Oh, okay.
I have done homeschool with my kids, but I just have a 7th grader, a 5th grader, and a kindergartner. So.
Oh.
A kindergartner who's doing like 5th grade math.
Wow.
When he was 4. I was just like,
suggestion, tell all kids, no matter what age they are, they should watch number blocks. And don't think too hard in how they multiply themselves, or else you're going to give yourself a headache. But it has helped him be able to figure out multiplication tables by the time he was in pre-K.
Wow. I can really do those now.
Right.
yeah, I was talking, when I first met Friday, we were talking about the kiddos, and he sleeps with Cthulhu.
Aww.
Okay, to guard him and protect him from his nightmares. And I'm just like,
right
oh my God, that's
he's
so
up
sweet.
on the curtains in the living room, so technically, it's right above where his bed is, and he gets to have Cthulhu watch over him while he sleeps. He won't lose him now.
So we've written like stories about Cthulhu and him, and then she started talking to me about him working on his multiplication. I'm like, I thought he was just like 4, and she's like, yeah. I was like, wow, it's great. It's good There are some good educational programs out there these days, guys. Some of them are terrifying, like Teletubbies, and I don't think they're that educational, but they're just there to like scare you to death with a laughing baby and strange people with TVs on their stomachs. But some of them are really good. I was really impressed. Do you go back now? You retired from teaching, so do you ever go back to talk to your classes at all, or?
I haven't yet. There's always the invitation. They can call me back at any moment to go talk with the kids, and I probably would. So yeah.
And have you done conventions yet?
Yeah.
How was your convention experience?
So much fun. I love it. When we are here in Massachusetts, we do like local conventions in Boston, things like that, and those are great. And we have a table and we sell things. But the real fun is like at San Diego Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con. Like that is just, it's really fun. Yeah.
Wow.
We just went to our third
Yeah,
San Diego Comic-Con. We kind of make a week of it. We bring our spouses, and we've had such a blast. It's so much fun. So yeah, I love conventions. They're great. Yeah.
And you've been doing them for. Did you teach her the ropes? Make sure she had 3 gallons of water strapped on, so you don't get dehydrated.
San Diego is unlike anything you can, if you've never experienced San Diego, I mean, it's something. So I kind of like was warning her, because that's like 140,000 people a day go through this.
Insane.
It's huge.
It's,
And I'm not a fan of crowds. And the first time we went, so we had done like smaller Boston conventions. And then we went to San Diego 3 years ago. And we went in the first night, was opening night, Wednesday night. It was fine. It was quiet. There weren't a whole lot of people. And the next day we got there and it was so crowded. I was so overwhelmed. I had to leave. We got there about 10:30 in the morning. And by like 2:30, I was like, I have to get out of here. Like, this is making me really anxious. Like, I can't handle this. So he was like, that's okay. Go ahead. Like, take some time. Do what you need. So I went sightseeing with my husband. And then the next day, I'm like, you know what? You got to suck this up. Put your big girl panties on and you got to get to the convention. And after that, I was fine. But the first, like, few days of it, the first time in San Diego, were just overwhelming because there's so many people and there's so much to see. And there's so many people. It was just really overwhelming. But you get used to it and you find your rhythm. And yeah, so we take breaks and we step outside and breathe and go back in. And it's awesome. It's a lot of fun.
I can't imagine doing San Diego. The biggest con I've done so far is Planet Comic Con in KC, and that's like 75,000 people or so. And but this guy comes with me, Rad Tosker here, my emotional support squirrel puppet. Yeah. He hangs out and like I literally need him if I'm not like tabling with the guys or something at a con. I'm like, no, because really he comes to panels with me. We walk around the floor together because I need to sit down and just like have something to focus on. And I was just like, I am such a loser. And then when I was at KC, they were like, I was hyperventilating at this table walking down a hallway, and this couple was like, come over here. The husband came and grabbed me and was like, sit down. What are you doing? Where are you trying to go? We're babysitting you. It's okay. And talking me through everything. And I'm just like, and this is Red House, and she's like, the gal's in a wheelchair and she pulls out a dragon and she's like, and this is Thomas. And I'm like, okay. She's like, you're not weird. We all have our little things and we are going to walk you where you're going. So that is one thing I enjoy about the community is there might be some jerks out there, but a lot of people, they look out for their own. If they see somebody's in trouble, they're going to grab you and just like be okay. But I can't imagine doing San Diego. That's just crazy.
That's why I take my emotional support, Tom. Because if he doesn't go, I don't go anywhere without him when we're there. But yeah, but no, you're right. It is. I don't like crowds, but the crowds I feel like at conventions are just, I don't know, everybody's so happy to be there and everybody's so into everything. And like you said, it's like, it's our community. And honestly, since I started writing, I feel like the horror community, especially like the folks here in Massachusetts, are just so kind and they're so welcoming and they're so genuinely interested in like what everybody's doing and how everybody is. So it's really nice to have reconnected with Tom, but also to have like gotten a whole new like set of friends. Like that's really cool. So, yeah.
And you guys being on the East Coast, that's a huge horror mecca. Yeah. The first year or two of this show, almost every single guest we had on was from within about maybe a 500-mile radius of Providence. Okay. It was like and in Salem and stuff. We had all these people that are all like East Coast. This is where Lovecraft was. This is where Poe was. This is where everybody was from, and that's where everybody seems to congregate. I've decided that if you live in Providence, you have to have at least 4 degrees in some sort of, you have to be able to like write and sing and do this and do that. And you're artistic somehow, you must be able to play certain violin passages, just because you're in that area. But the horror community, the comics community envelops a lot of people. The horror community is like everything. If you write a book, if you sing music, if you make movies, if you do whatever, have you gone to horror conventions as well instead of just comic book conventions, or maybe in the future?
No, have
I
we?
I don't know. Have I? I don't. I've been at this a long time. I don't think I've ever done a specific horror convention.
Because the way those get set up is more like in comics, you have like everybody, here's artist Sally, then here's vendors, here's stuff. And they put people, kind of group them together as to like, these are the A-listers, these are this. Horror, everybody's just kind of, they'll have like the movie people a little bit closer, but nobody's shunted off to the side, really. Yeah. There's always like, okay, you can write comics, you can write books, you can write whatever, and everybody's just in this big, happy little, you're sitting next to somebody who makes Jason masks and stuff, and then across from you is somebody who does Lovecraftian prints and things, and it's just a very embracing community as well. If you like the comic community, I think you'd enjoy and you have a lot of horror cons in your area. So
yeah. Actually, I think there was one this weekend.
There was, wasn't it? And they had to go in the basement.
Yeah, because it was a tornado running.
Yeah.
Dragon
I think I had friends. Yeah. Friends of mine were there and they're like, well, this is the first time I've spent time at a con in a basement because wasn't it a tornado warning?
It was a tornado warning, which is kind of unusual for Massachusetts. But
very, yeah.
I'm in Nebraska. We have those every other day, So.
We don't have them very often.
That's where the book was set, in Massachusetts too, I think.
It was. No, write what you know.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Did you ever have an experience at a con that changed your outlook on something?
At a con?
Yeah, at a convention, because I've had that happen to me. A convention changed my whole entire life. The trajectory of how it went.
Interesting. I think cons are a great reminder of what we do, because we do things so solitary that it's really nice to see somebody react to your work, to come to come stand in front of you and have this enthusiasm for something that you've, when you wrote it, you were by yourself, or sitting next to Jeannine and banging the stuff out. You don't think how that work is going to affect somebody. And I think when you actually get that back from somebody who's come to the table for a signature or something, that changes, I think, your attitude a lot. I think I don't think you realize how much you affect people, and that's a nice reminder that your work is out there, that people do see it, they do react to it, they do respond to it.
They do come back and reread it just because it's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice. It's nice to be reminded that you're not just all by yourself. People are looking forward to something that you do, and they're excited when they see it. That you need to remind yourself. I think creative people need to remind themselves of that a lot, because you do spend so much time in your own head. It's nice to have her to work with now, so I don't have to spend as much time up here.
It's a scary place.
It is a very scary place.
But it's a fun, scary place.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Now I can say, hey, want to hear something stupid I just thought about?
I usually take notes, because sometimes it turns into story ideas.
Yeah, actually, with that, we've been plotting something, and I'll say something totally stupid, absolutely ridiculous to get the laugh. But then we both go, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Inside that stupidity, there's a really good idea. And it's a lot of times we've solved like massive problems with just one of us deciding to be idiots.
Yeah.
And telling a joke or making or coming up, oh, what we should really do, and you come up with something completely stupid and outrageous, but then you're like, well, wait a minute.
That could work.
Pull back a little bit on that stupid and outrageous. That might actually be a solution.
Yeah.
And it has happened.
Yeah.
What would be, do you think, I'm going to give you an example so you can think about it for a second or two, but what would be something out of that line where you came up with an idea and then you're just like, wait, if we do this, and then kind of veer around a little bit, that's fabulous. Like something you had not planned at all. I might be having internet issues. I'm not sure, but, so I hope I'm not coming through too choppy, but I had somebody I was editing for, and they had a character that they were introducing into a scribes guild, who was from way out of somewhere. Somebody's basically using him and is like, oh, go here and spy for me. And he'd been homeless for a very long time and was filthy, but they let him into this guild and immediately were like, oh, we'll just clean you up and give you stuff. And I was like, they might want to, the person who's introducing them to this might want to give him a shower and a change of clothes if they really want him infiltrating this thing, before just doing so. And I gave that as a suggestion. And what I got back was, instead of that, he made it so that the Scribes Guild took in anybody who was literate, but once they joined the guild and they were there basically just to copy, things, they were given partial lobotomies. And so I was like, well, that's more than a shower, but but it worked. It made it a little more sinister and, a place that you'd have to infiltrate. But what's something that you guys have been like, oh, we're just going to joke around about this, and then, wow, that totally works here?
There's so much stupidity that goes on in the course of a day. There's just too much stupid in our day to remember what stupid we used and what stupid we don't use. I don't remember. I really can't think of. But it has happened more than once.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do remember one time when we were doing, I think it was Vampirverse. We were writing the Vampirverse, and one of the characters was an orangutan, and he was driving a spaceship, wasn't he?
No, he was driving a Zeppelin.
Zeppelin, that's right. And who did they save? They saved somebody. And I was joking around and I was like, we should put one of these little people on the orangutan's lap, and he's like trying to take over the controls. I don't even remember who it was. And I said it as a joke, and it ended up in the finished comic. And I can't remember. Somebody was on the orangutan's lap. I can't remember who it was.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to remember what that was.
Yeah, I can't remember. But anyway, yeah. But stupid ideas like they're a dime a dozen during our day.
There are a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of stupid that goes on.
Yeah.
I get that. We all, a lot of us here at the Owlite Network are authors, and we beta read each other's stuff, and pass everything around and work together. So you'll get an offhand comment about something, and then later on it might show up somewhere in somebody else's work or in your own kind of thing, because you're like, oh, that was when you did this, Yeah.
Now that you've presented this, I'm going to be aware. And the next time we do something really stupid that ends up being a good idea, you're going to hear about it.
All right. You have my email. I want to know. It's going to be like this. Make sure you read this because this happened.
This came about because I said this, and boy, was that dumb.
Okay, as we're coming up on the hour mark here, I do need to play our ad break that we're going to do real quick. So everybody, there's going to be about 3 minutes worth of ads coming here. And then When we finish, do you want to do the reading for us that we're talking about?
Your reading.
Awesome. Okay, so take a minute if you need to, and we will be right back, everybody. And make sure you get some comments. There, I see you guys watching. You got to leave me some comments.
Greetings and shabibans. We are the Retro Reductibus Cephala Podcast, a long-form bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
Well, that sounds good, but I don't know what all those words mean.
I think what Parasite Steve's trying to say is that on Retro Reductibus, we explore a range of retro goodness, from toys, video games, and movies, to cartoons, and even snacks and school lunches.
Oh.
And we do it all with a positive spin, a slew of killer guests, and some very adult language.
And you know what else is cool?
No.
This crazy show is part of the Door King Podcast Network with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
What's that?
And if waiting 2 weeks for a new episode gives you a sad, know that we drop bonus episodes all the time, like the off-format Crow's Nest and an interview series we call The Brick.
You can listen to Retro Reductibus on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any app that's cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all the things that make growing up awesome.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here, as I said before, with Jeannine Acheson and Tom Sniegoski. Sniegoski. Damn it. I had it right before. But we're getting ready. We're going to have a reading from the book Nira that they have coming out really soon on the 16th. And you can pre-order it now on, I know, Amazon and quite a few different places, isn't it? There was...
Yeah.
You can go to
Barnes
Batman.
has it. Amazon has it. And Bad Hand Books.
Bad Hand Books.
All right.
You want the book, trust me.
Yes, it is so good.
Awesomeness.
And this reading is coming from the beginning, right?
Yes, this is the beginning. We've met the first character, Harry Derville, who owns a bar.
And I love how much of Harry's story you included here to make him part of her story to introduce her. It's fabulous. So I'm gonna blow you up here real quick.
Oh boy. Okay.
Wow! Look at that face.
Oh no, another face. Okay. As a child with a depression, Harry had always strived for more, never afraid to get his hands dirty, taking on as much work as he could find in order to help his parents support his younger brother and sisters. His contributions to the family continued even after his enlistment in the Army after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the money he earned as a soldier being wired back home. Stationed in Europe, he'd seen a great deal of action, and more than once he thought for sure his life was over. Surviving the hell of war became his only objective, no thoughts of the future other than returning home in one piece. Your story isn't finished, Harry. He heard the words as if whispered in his ear and jumped in his chair, heartbeat quickening with the memory of when he'd first heard them. With great effort, Harry turned his body to see behind the bar, eyes going to the place where a specific bottle of whiskey brought home with him from the war had been kept, put in a place of honor on the day he had first opened Derval's doors. Nobody was ever to touch the bottle, and to this day it remained unopened. He and the whiskey had been through a lot, a trophy to the fact that he'd survived a particular moment, that he'd survived the ordeal of war. But she had said that he would. Harry closed his eyes and remembered. It had been quite some time since he'd last thought of that night, how scared he'd been and how sure he was that he was going to die. In the midst of a harsh German winter, he'd become separated from his regiment in the Hercuoilds forest, howitzer fire relentlessly raining down, causing them to flee for their lives into the deep, dark wood. It had been so cold, the air thick with ice. Harry remembered how his lungs had burned as he'd run through the accumulating snow, his every sense on high alert, waiting for German soldiers to emerge from hiding and shoot him down in a hail of gunfire. The sound of warfare echoed through the forest as he'd searched for the members of his regiment, but they were nowhere to be found. He was alone, cold and wet, and as the night fell and the storm intensified, he knew that if the enemy did not kill him, the harshness of the winter conditions certainly would. Sitting in his wheelchair, Harry could still feel the brutality of the German cold as he'd felt it then, numbing his hands and feet. He'd never liked the winter much to begin with, but having survived Hercuoilds Forest, he had learned to both hate and fear it. Close to giving up, to lying down in the snow and drifting peacefully off to sleep, he glimpsed it through the swirling curtain of white. At first he had no idea what he was seeing, believing it was some sort of hallucination, a mirage taking him from the swirling white curtain of white, but then realized that in fact there was something there. Finding a deep, hidden reserve of strength within, Harry pushed through the heavy drifts toward the looming shape that appeared to be just beyond the storm. It was a house, a lovely Victorian, and Harry had never seen anything quite so beautiful. He remembered at that moment being so overjoyed that he didn't even question what a Victorian home would be doing in the middle of a German forest. It didn't matter then. All he knew was that this was a chance for him to live. The drifts fought to halt his progress, but Harry pushed on through the mounting accumulation. The closer he got, the farther the house seemed to, but it did not deter him until finally reaching the front steps that led up to a dark wooden door. He remembered how strange it seemed to him that the 6 stairs were barren of snow, not a drop of the white stuff on any of their surfaces. Almost as if the home had somehow just arrived and the freezing precipitation hadn't yet had the chance to accumulate. There had been a moment's trepidation, but then the wind howled and the icy claws of the storm attempted to drag him back and claim him as its own, and Harry surged forward to climb the bare steps. Standing at the door, he felt a sudden sense of calm and slid the strap of his rifle over his shoulder, reaching for the ornate doorknob. There was a heat to the knob. He could feel it even through his soaked woolen gloves. He was sure that it would be locked, and he had already begun to think of other ways he might enter the house when the knob turned, and he pushed the door open into a comforting warmth that said to him, come in, out of the cold." And Harry did as he was told. He remembered how his voice had sounded in the air of the foyer as he called out, "Hello, is there anybody home? My name is Corporal Harry Derval, and I'm with the 4th Infantry Division of the United States Army." He recalled her voice from behind the double doors calling out for him to come in before he'd had a chance to knock. Hesitantly, he turned the knob and pushed open one of the doors. A single lamp lit the room, a study, the walls lined with bookshelves, and an old Victrola like the one his grandmother had, playing the recording of a classical piece, filling the space with music. Beneath the light source, a woman sat, long legs crossed. Her hair was shockingly white, her gaunt face pale. She did not look at him as she flipped through a copy of Life magazine. "Are you here to do me harm?" she asked casually, flipping the pages, her dark eyes going from one page to the next. "No, Good," she said, looking briefly away from her reading to glance to a deeply shadowed area in the far corner of the room before returning her attention to the magazine. "I don't care for that." The bodies of 2 German soldiers lay unmoving within the deep patch of shadow. For no reason he could articulate, he knew that they were dead. My name is Corporal Harry Derville of the 4th Infantry Division, the woman finished as she turned another page. I heard you earlier. She looked up at him. My name is Constance Evermore. Why are you in my house? Hello, Harry said sheepishly. There was a battle in the forest. I was separated from my battalion, searching for a place to. I found your house. That's what those 2 said, Constance said, hooking a thumb over her shoulder. Only in German, right before they announced they were commandeering my house for the glory of the Third Reich. Like hell they were. She'd reached the end of the magazine and stuffed it into the side of the chair. The record on the Victrola had come to an end, and silence filled the room. Far off in the distance outside, there were sounds like thunder. You thought you were going to die, Constance said, moving the foot of her crossed leg up and down. Yeah, he said, remembering the intensity of his fear. I was pretty sure it was over for me. It's not over for you, the mysterious woman said, looking deeply into his eyes and slowly shaking her head. Your story isn't finished, Harry.
I don't remember writing that.
Dude, that was epic.
I had my mic muted. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Yeah, this is what you guys have to look forward to. It's such a great book. And I love how, again, the house is such an important character within the book itself. And well, the whole story is it's going to keep going on because it brought her to him to later go on and do things. And that's where I'm with Friday here, wondering like how much consciousness the house has versus whether she wants it to go somewhere or whether it wants to take her into all the different places that it decides that she has to be. There's got to be a little bit of squabbling kind of between her and the house because she's still, after all this time and everything that she's done, that it's alluded to. We don't know exactly all that happens. We get a lot of it as we go through, but she still seems to be caught up in her own hubris. She hasn't quite shaken that. She's got the little cockiness going with her on like, yeah, these guys were doing that. Oh yeah, here, welcome, and you're doing that. I don't know if I belong here or not, but she has to get that encouragement to.
I think what I love about her the most, and I've mentioned this in a couple other interviews, is I love the fact that she's not human, and every once in a while you get a glimpse of something scary, that like something that could be a lot more dangerous than she's letting on. And I think that I like that part. I that's like my secret or our secret that every once in a while we're going to get to show that, and we hope it startles, because I think people have a tendency to kind of just like her. Oh, she's like a wise ass old lady. She's funny. But I think when you go beyond that, you realize that there's a lot more to her than what she presents.
Yeah.
There is so much more. And there's so much more of her personality we don't see yet.
Yeah.
And there's so much this world has to give us.
Yeah.
She kind of reminds me of, like, she has an aspect of the Fae, not the happy little pixies that fly around, but the Fae, if you've studied them before, or this is going to sound weird, but like a good Cenobite. If we go with like that kind of, like, she's not like, I'm going to show up and just rip you apart with chains, but she has that like where they're just like, they have an absolutely cold deadness to them when it comes to humanity because they aren't human.
Right.
They're only obviously that's a very extreme sort of thing, that not exactly a total comparison, but the coolness that like the Hell Priest Pinhead has through everything. It's just
I could go with that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Not all the gory tearing apart people thing, but
No,
like
that
I'm better than you, and you're a human, so we'll deal with you the way we do, sort of thing. So I don't want to take up too much more of you guys' night. Where can we? What do you have coming up that you can tell us about, as far as books or anything, or events that you might be going to? And how do you like people to reach out to you on social media if they want to get in touch with you? What is the best way for them to do that?
first of all,
you have a website.
yeah, I don't go there.
Yeah, you haven't really updated for a while.
No, it has been updated in a while, but it gives you general information, shows you a lot of my book stuff and some of my comic stuff. But you can find both of us like on social media. I'm on Facebook. I'm still on Twitter. I shouldn't be, but I am. Instagram,
Blue Sky.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're there.
yeah.
And any idea when the next volume of this is going to be coming out?
Well, we still have to write.
We can talk about that.
We can talk about Grim Death. I wrote a book with Mike Mignola, the creator of Hellboy, in like 2017.
Yes.
2017, called Grim Death and Bill the Electrocuted Criminal. Yeah. And it's a like 1930s pulp, like kind of like The Shadow or Doc Savage. It has that kind of pulpy flavor to it. And I always wanted to do more, but publishing being the way publishing is, it just never ended up being that way. But once we hooked up with Bad Hand, who we're doing Nira with, I said to him how much I would love to write some more Grim Death stories, and he was all over that. He was like, I definitely would love to do it with you guys if you guys want to do it. So they put out a new edition of the first Grim Death novel. So that's out there now, floating around. And Jeannine and I dragged Jeannine into this as well. Jeannine and I and Mike Mignola will be writing the new Grim Death adventures.
Yeah.
So we have to write the next new Grim Death adventure first, and then
the next
Nira.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know how envious you're getting brought on, and it's like, oh, and you're just going to be writing with Mike Mignola now? Yeah. So happy for you.
I get freaked out.
It's gonna be amazing.
When you remind her about it, you can almost see her skin starts to move.
Yeah. I start to vibrate.
That's awesome. Don't worry, I'm so excited for you. I'm just like,
cool.
Because I get to read it too, and we're big fans of Mignola, so yeah,
this is amazing.
That's super fun. And Grim Death that's a very good book, by the way. If you guys haven't read that, go read it so that you're ready for when it comes out again.
And when the new
one. Yes, get yourself a copy of the new one. It's gonna be a good time.
Go to Bad Hand Books. They have Nira and they have Grim Death. Go, run right now.
There you go.
Go read everything they've ever written.
Pretty much, yeah. And then go cosplay them at a convention. Go hang. I want to see Constance Evermore cosplayers. There's got to be some. That would be awesome. You can see Miss Brown's work, and you can be like, "This is what I'm basing my costume off of." Yeah, cool. Get the nice white wig and everything going on.
Some more. Yeah, be good. Be fun. You could do that.
All right. Well, I'm gonna sign us out here real quick. Friday, where do you want people to be looking for you?
I'll be here on Owlite Network and Fake Horror. Come back Wednesday, and you will see our newest episode of Chainer's Haunted Secrets with Uncle Bones. And just come back and read the new stuff we have coming out on the 15th. My daughter and I are being published for the first time together with Art and Insanity.
Wow. Congrats.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nice. And if you guys want to find me and this crazy little squirrel, go over to Carrie, Kari Sanders. Look at me on Facebook. If you see this crow, that is me judging you. So you know you have come to the right place. You can read what I've written. There are links to that. I'm also on Splash Pages, and this Tuesday we are going to have on John Dexter. He's a new indie writer. We're going to be promoting his Kickstarter and letting you learn more about him. And we have a bunch of different shows going on the Owlite Network here and there and everywhere, and sometimes we schedule them, and it just kind of depends on who has time to do what right now. But we are settling into a much stricter schedule in the upcoming season. So with that, thank you for watching, and everybody have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.